Party will be opposing the bill.
Jackie Dean.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm very happy to speak on the South Taranaki District Council Cold Creek Rural Water Supply Bill in its second reading, and also, as other members have done, I want to congratulate local member Chester Borrows on not only bringing this bill to the House on behalf of his local authority and local rate-paying constituents, but also appearing before the committee on several occasions to make some pragmatic and practical explanation of questions that were raised during the course of the committee's consideration. Nikki Wagner, as usual, did a wonderful job, or is doing a wonderful job in chairing this committee. It is not easy, actually, for the chair of the local government committee having to put up with the likes of some of the members on it who are
always fighting amongst themselves.
Always fighting amongst themselves, and reason seems to be far away from some of their consideration. I just want to pick up the point that the previous Green member noted towards the end of her speech about the referendum not being held over the whole of the South Taranaki District Council area, nor should it, because rates for rural water schemes are not collected from the whole of the South Taranaki District Council. The rates, when it was rated, is collected over the area of benefit accrued to those. Yes, the member does know what she's talking about, because under the Rating Act for rural water schemes, they are rated across the area of benefit, and so it is just and it is the right thing to do that when there is a referenda, that is done over the area that is affected by the rural water scheme. The area which I have the privilege of representing is absolutely peppered by rural water schemes, and they generally came about, some of them actually, as a result of farmers utilising the Chinese water races, which are an amazing network, still standing today, of water races, which of course were used in the business of getting gold and sluicing for gold. They were so well constructed, could teach us a thing or two about water races, that they are still now being used in some of the water schemes in around Central Otago. And in around North Otago, groups of farmers, as with the group of farmers that this bill relates to, got together many years ago, sometimes over 100 years ago sometimes, decided that they were better off working together to getting a supply of water from, say, the Wairika Creek or the Kakanui or whatever river, and so they would form a committee back in the day, and they dug the trenches by hand, they laid pipes by hand. One of the things they didn't do was do asset management plans, because they weren't required back in the day, and so a number of councils around New Zealand have spent considerable time trying to find out just where those pipes go. The old timers know, because they're the ones whose they put them in, or their fathers or their grandfathers put them in, and they helped put the pipes in because they know where they were. But I remember when we lived out in the country and we were on the Western Rural Water Scheme, not only did we have slaters in our water on occasions, and it would also run out, which was irritating as a young mother, but when there was a leak, the Whitestone Landscaping and the local company would have to come out and spend days trying to find just where that leak was. That would be a charge upon the farmers and consumers such as ourselves. And so councils brought asset management plans into being, and I think that was a pretty good move. And so now we know more about rural water schemes. And so they have a really rich history in New Zealand. And just as in perhaps my region, the farmers who took water from the Cold Creek water supply did the same thing. They decided that it was to their benefit and it would be far more efficient for the 162 odd families to work together for a rural water scheme. They were the beneficiaries of a government scheme at the time, which was a dollar for dollar subsidy. Well, good on them. Good on them for forming a committee, having the wherewithal to decide that they needed to deal with their water issues, applying for and getting a dollar for dollar subsidy. Hallelujah. I think that is fantastic. And what puzzles me occasionally about the response, particularly of Labor and the Greens, to the fact that this rural water supply is now going to go into the ownership of the farmers, is they seem to object very strongly to public money then going into the benefit of the private operators. But then I think to myself about their failed housing policy, which they release in the hope that anybody will take any notice, which they don't, but numbers tragically all wrong. That's par for the course. So they are happy to subsidise people into houses, but they are not happy for government money and subsidy to go into a rural water scheme. I can only conclude from that Labor and the Greens hate farmers. Now, it is a theme which underpins a lot of the philosophy of the local government, of the Labor Party and the Greens, is they simply cannot conceive of the fact that farmers are underpinning the absolute economic wealth of this country. They can't accept that. And so, philosophically, the Greens and Labor cannot accept that the ownership of the Coal Creek water supply could possibly go into private hands. Well, I can. I think it's a good thing. I think those farmers should be commended for this work and for bringing this bill to the House. I think the South Taranaki District Council should also be commended for understanding and recognising that a local company running a rural water scheme is actually going to do a better job than council. It is well understood, and particularly in my area, that local control of a rural water scheme means you get local good sense, and that local good sense can save money for those ratepayers and has everything to recommend it. Thank you.
Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Take a call on behalf of